Okay, good. Okay, so how do we graph this? Let me get a color that will graph better. Black. Okay, so we have very bad lines. And here's what we're going to do. First thing we should always do is graph our base function. I'm always going to say this, and most of you are not going to listen to me. But a lot of you are going to have a lot of trouble if you don't listen to me. Okay, so let's make this pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, it's a 3, and pi. And we'll make this minus pi over 4, minus pi over 2, minus 3 pi over 4, and minus pi. Okay, where are my asymptotes for tangent? Remember, tangent is sine over cosine. Right. It's at, so I have an asymptote at pi over 2, and I have another asymptote at minus pi over 2. And we'll just use those two. Really, that's really annoying. Okay. All right. Then we have, so remember the other thing we have also is we have our zeros. Where's our 0? Thank you. I know. Same. That was really annoying. We have a 0 at 0. Exactly. And then I also want to graph my point, which is at 1, right? Okay, you want me to do 2? Okay. Okay. So at pi over 4, it's 1. And at minus pi over 4, it's minus 1, right? And again, here's my base graph. Kind of. All right, so now this is 1 and this is 1. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to deal with that, aren't I? So what kind of transformation is that to? Vertical or horizontal? Yeah, amplitude vertical. So what's happening really is instead of this being 1, I can just turn this to 2, right? I would multiply everything by 2. So if I just multiply my 2's by 2, it'll be fine. Okay, so now I have this part of the graph. And then what does minus 1 do? Nope. It's a horizontal shift down. It's the only way you have it horizontal, is if it was a shift horizontal, it would look like that. But since it's outside of the function, it's vertical. Okay? Okay, good. So what this means is I'm going to move it down 1. So here, let me see. I'm going to make this minus 3 and 1. And I'm just going to take this and move it down so that my 0 goes through minus 1. Kind of, well, yeah, like that. So that's my new graph, kind of. And all I did is I moved it down. This is minus, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. This is minus 1. Okay? Any questions? You have a question, Luis? Oh, okay. Okay, so let's continue. And that's basically what this says. Oh, this is a different one. Oh, that's right, I put a thing over the top of it. So let's do it again. So we have 3 tangent of 2x. So I have pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 2 pi. And we have, I'm not going to label them all because it's harder to label, but you got it. They're pi over 4 apart, right? Okay, so here's my 1, here's my minus 1. I have my asymptotes again at, let me see, I can actually do this. Let me see, I think I can do this and turn this dotted. Probably more work than is, but it takes more time to do it than worth it. But. Yes. Yes, Griffin. Yeah, you will start very shortly. I'm going to do secant and cosecant next, so don't worry. It's all going to happen before you know it. My lecture should be one week ahead of your homework. I know there's a couple problems that the secant and cosecant we didn't get to, so that's my fault. So here's my basic tangent graph, and of course there's another one out here. Well, I don't have enough room to make it all happen, so I'll just make this part happen. So, yeah, I think that's right. This goes up here. There's another asymptote out there. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So what's the first thing we're going to work on? We have 3 tangent of 2x. This right now is 1, and this is minus 1. Okay. So always the best, I think the, well, okay, I think the best thing usually to do is do the, usually you should start with the horizontal. For this, it doesn't really matter because it's only one vertical and one horizontal. But let's just do it, let's just always start with horizontal. I think it'll make it better in the long run. So horizontally I have this 2x. What does that mean I need to do? I divide everything by 2. Yes, because remember my period is equal, basically my period is equal to my original period, and for tangent it's pi over b. So this is equal to, so that means b is equal to pi over 2. Notice what's happening is I'm changing all my, I'm cutting everything by 2. I'm dividing by 2, by b. Okay, so if I change my period, and my period's cut in half. That means every point along the way is also cut in half. So now my new spots are, let me get another color. My new spots are, I'm going to divide this by 2, I get pi over 8. If I divide this by 2, I get pi over 4. If I divide this by 2, I get 3 pi over 4. And if I divide this by 2, I get pi over 2. Okay, and here this is minus pi over 4. Okay, so notice my period, which is from here to here, is now pi over 2, from negative pi over 4 to pi over 4. Is that clear? Okay, good. Very nice. And then again, that's the tangent of 2x, and then I'm going to change 1 to 3, and minus 1 to minus 3, and that's my new graph. And if you do this on paper, you'll always have the points you can just plug into Alex. If we have time, I'll do one into Alex so you can see what I mean. I'm just trying to get through all the stuff we have to get through first. Any questions?